should be used by local Kenyans first and foremost. Before we even start talking about institutional investors, foreign investors, and things like that, these are things for us, ourselves, because we all have savings somewhere. Where are the savings right now? The savings should work for you, which is why we are targeting 9 million active retail investors. We're also targeting 50 new diverse listed funds and indices, which is where REITs come into play. I think we've had the 4 that I've presented with a clear pipeline of some who are coming this year, but we also want to see more. So this is what we are working to. I won't delve too much into the other figures. Now this chart so that's what we are aiming to do by 2029. So where are we today? Today as of end of September. This is the state of the market. And it feels like when I've done this presentation for the past 2 years, all these figures have been in double digits, like return figures. I wonder how many of us here have actually benefited from them. The chart on the left-hand side just shows how much money, turnover is how much money has been traded this year on the NSE. I mean, you can see equities have traded 100 billion so far, bonds 2 trillion. I mean, that's January to September. This is just remarkable. Derivatives, in fact, for derivatives in particular, the last month they just opened they reduced the margin, so it had the single largest trading month of any month in existence. And also our market where other REITs are listed, the USP, had a turnover of 100 million. The growth, you can see it's all double digits in terms of how much people are actually buying into it. But importantly, which is what it's important for us, is how much capital has been created, how much value has been created through all this. So you can see all our indices, that's our right-hand side. An index is just showing, as at January, comparing between January and today, how much has the price moved, by what percentage. So you can see it's all 40% and 30% and up for all our indices, which really is a sign of the opportunity that is there for our retail investors, but also the people who have been deriving this have largely been institutional. The bottom graph just shows how much the equities have grown in terms of value over time. So as of September, it was really quite high. You can see in the past 15 years or so, at the end of the year, that's where the equity values have been. You know, REITs are also equity instruments. So as of end of September, it was really quite high at 2.8 trillion compared to where it has been in other years. Very quickly on this, who has been trading? Is it local? Is it foreign? Who actually has been deriving this value? This year, we are pleased to know that so far this year, 63% trading has been by local entities, and we are very pleased for that. We want to encourage that more because it has to work for us first before it works for people out there. So I'll just leave that as that because, and you can delve into the figures after. A quick note on pension investments. I think RBI is still in the room. How have pensions been investing? The top part shows pension investment into REITs in particular. The bottom chart shows pension investments into direct property ownership. The trend is clear. As much as they also have holdings directly into property, their investments in REITs have been growing quite significantly compared to their investments in direct property. So if you're a promoter out there looking to get capital for your business, this is an instrument that they are more comfortable in taking up. And some of the investment into REITs have been quite commendable, actually. Now, finally, on REITs. I'll start with a snapshot. I mean, the presenters that have come before were talking about the REITs that are going to come to the market. But as we mentioned, there are REITs that have already been in the market. The top part just shows the 4 REITs. There are currently 4 REITs that are listed. There's another one that was approved, although it's not listed per se. The interesting thing is, I won't delve too much into this, but it's what type of REIT it is and where it is listed. So you can see for the top part, for the majority of them, they are on the NSE USP platform, which is really a platform for large institutional trades. If you contrast that to the upcoming ones, it's quite interesting to see the growth in the entire journey. So the other ones coming, you can see some are still targeting USP, some are targeting the common persons, like Pakin has mentioned, and then others like the first $2 REITs, which will be the first dollar instruments of any kind on the NSE, and they are both REITs. So clearly there's been a bit of progression into it. Also, if you look at the sectors in which the REITs are playing in, the first 4 were specialized and a mix of mixed use. In this other case, it's very clear. There's a bit of input into residential, proper residential, as well as specialized, that you've had an industrial REIT, an SEZ REIT. So that's just a snapshot of how things are looking and their intended listing timelines, as you can peruse further. Finally, I think this is the last slide with many figures like this. So at the end of the day, I think one of the reasons that people are encouraged to use REITs is liquidity. And when I say liquidity, I'll just narrow it down. I mean, I'm sure Kenyans, we have property out there that you're trying to sell. I'm sure we all have our own cases of such things. So have REITs actually been trading? And that's what the first chart is showing. You can see from 2019 to date, how much has actually been traded in REITs. Last year, it was a record year of trading where the value of REITs that traded was 1 billion, 1.6 billion. This year, it's due to beat that by quite a margin. In fact, if you compare this year and last year, so far, similar period, turnover is up 45%. And maybe an interesting statistic to the statisticians out there, the quarter 4 has been historically the most active quarter of REITs trading. I don't know why. Maybe there's a bias towards that, because quarter 4 has had 40% of all REIT trades have happened in quarter 4 on any particular year. So we expect that this year it will also trade even more. The bottom chart just shows how much value has actually been invested in REITs. You can see how the smooth progression has gone, which is part of these engagements, because we want first market awareness to both investors and promoters. Then when you're seeing this traction, it becomes an easier journey for you to either invest or to come and promote your own REIT. So if the new REITs come into play, the ones that have presented, this is how much the market cap or the value invested in REITs will look like, which is really commendable. You can see it's sort of an exponential curve going up. Finally, there are some who have presented here. There are some who are still in the pipeline. We haven't had a chance to hear from them. What is a flavor of the guys who are out there who will look in the next few years?